Osio Nagata. Hello, everyone. My name is Tommy Jones, and I'm from Jones, Oklahoma. Lizana Pierce is not here today. She is working on one of our funding opportunities, which I'll get into a little bit later, which is an exciting thing. So I apologize for her not being here, but we'll take care of this today. It'll be good. So my little background about me is I've been working with the Office of Indian Energy in one form or another since 2014. First as an intern, and then as a federal contractor, and then as a federal employee since 2020. And thank you very much. I'll just go ahead and get started here then. So this is going to be a basic overview with some talks about technical assistance and funding through the Office of Indian Energy. And so there's a lot of things going on related to the Inflation Reduction Act and the bipartisan infrastructure law that did not specifically fund our office. And so there's a lot that you're going to hear going on, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's specifically the Office of Indian Energy. But whatever you're looking into, we're wanting to pair you with the right folks at DOE to work with as well. But it may be just our office that you need. So we'll go ahead and get started here. Our current director is Wahala Johns. She's from Navajo Nation in Arizona, and she's been a great resource for our office, a community organizer previously, and she's done a great job with our office, and I'm really happy to have her as my director. We also have David Conrad as our deputy director, and he's probably a familiar face to a lot of folks in here. He's been around. When I first started in the program, he was part of the administration then too. And so that's a nice familiar face. Osage from Oklahoma. And then Lizana Pierce. She holds so much knowledge for our office, over 20 years of experience, and we're really lucky to have her. She's a workhorse, if you all know her. And so then myself, Tommy Jones. And again, I started in the office in 2014, and I'm very happy to say that the intern supervisor is in the room, Sandra Begay, who I consider a great friend, and I'm really thankful for her. And so I'll go into internship in a little while. But the Office of Indian Energy, if you don't know, was created from the Energy Policy Act of 2005, and the mission is to promote Indian tribal energy development, efficiency, and use, reduce or stabilize energy costs, enhance and strengthen Indian economic and Indian tribal energy and economic infrastructure, and bring electrical power and service to Indian land and homes. And so how we do this is with a small team. We have about 15 federal employees at this moment and 10 contractors. This is basically quadrupled in the last couple years. We had about we had a lot less folks, and so we are growing, and we're still growing. And so everyone in the federal atmosphere is looking to hire people. And so there's always jobs right now available. And so if you're interested in working for the federal government, think about DOE. And so we have folks in Washington, D.C., our director and others out there. Most of the team is in Colorado, which is where I am stationed. And so we do a lot of the deployment work, which I'll get into there. And then we have folks in Alaska, too. We also have something called the Indian Energy and Infrastructure Working Group, and this is made up of folks from around the country, from tribes, usually tribal leaders or someone that they put in to represent the tribe. But this is one way that we're able to get on-the-ground feedback from tribal members. And we will try to do our best to make programmatic changes or advocate in the ways that we can from the feedback that we hear from this group. It's also a great way to help plan for our funding opportunities, to hear from folks like what you want to achieve. And so our deployment program has three main areas: financial assistance, technical assistance, and education and outreach. And I'll go into a little bit of each of these. Since 2010, which is when our office was reorganized, the office has invested over $120 million in over 200 projects. These projects are worth over $200 million, and so that means that there has been a cost share contributed by tribal communities. But I will note that the cost share requirement for our office has historically been 50%, And it's now been reduced down to 20% with the ability to go down to 10% based on the community's need. And no problem. All right, we got to hear better here. So we, again, 50% what it's been historically. It's down to 20, and it can go down to 10. And so what I like to tell folks is there's a lot of ways that that 10% can be met too, and it doesn't have to be just cash. If you're working on the grant, if you provide a bulldozer to help the project, those in-kind costs like that can contribute to that 10% too. And so it's a lot more flexible for communities in that way. And so these investments over the years averages about $10 million a year. And so right now we have, and so this past year, 7.1, right now we have $35 million in grants out right now, and then we have a notice of intent for 50 million more that will be released this year. And so there's a lot of funding going on right now, and so this is, our office has changed. We got increased budget, and so we're gonna have more funding to provide for projects and reduced cost share. There's still going to be an application for that, and I think that the application for our office is a continuous improvement piece, and so we've tried templating, but you know, the feedback is to reduce it, and so we hear that, and we're looking at ways of streamlining our application. So what this has looked like, the tangible results, is nearly 46 megawatts of new generation on tribal lands, nearly 13 megawatt hours of battery storage installed, and over $14.4 million saved per year. And that equals $315 million of savings over the lifetimes of just the projects that have been established so far. And so for every dollar that DOE invests into these projects, a 3.38 multiplier is what we're seeing for the communities. And so this has impacted nearly 8,800 tribal buildings by our estimation. And if you ever want to hear about these projects directly from the folks that are doing them, the program review that we hold every November in Colorado, we have 40 or 50 presentations from around the country where folks talk about the projects that they are working on or have completed. And you can hear from the people who are working on those projects, the barriers, the success, things that can help make things easier. But this event here is a unique experience to hear from all across the country in the same room for a full week, people talking about their energy successes. And so it's our favorite week as a team because we get to meet the folks that we're working for. And so a lot of our projects that we have funded, or a lot of the tribal projects that we have funded, help fund, are smaller scale. And so our office historically $10 million per year, and so it's not large scale projects. And so a lot of the things that we see are like small scale solar, wind, hydro. This small unit here on the bottom left, that sinks down into the water, and it's a small scale rib-gen system. And so those are the size of projects that we have typically funded, usually less than a megawatt, but that depends on the community and what they want to explore. And we have funded from Florida to Alaska, and so there's a lot of opportunity out there. There's a lot of different options that tribes can look into. We also, this is a point in time when there's more funding available probably than ever before for energy projects. And so it's really hard even for us to wrap our minds around all these opportunities. And so we're all still doing that too. And to think about the DOE is working on adding 60 new offices. There's a lot of new folks at DOE as well. And we're all trying to learn what the other programs are doing in terms of funding. But what we do is whatever funding that we think would be applicable for a tribal community, we will put on our funding page. There's current funding opportunities, ongoing ones, and then our past funding opportunities. And I think our past funding opportunities is a great way to look at the application materials in the past so you can get an idea for the next time you want to apply to our office. We also have all the projects that we have co-funded on our website, and you can look at the technical reports. I think the final reports for these are very good, And then actually all of the presentations that have been given at the program reviews go onto our website as well, so you can look at all of that. The next thing that we provide is technical assistance. And so this is meant to address a specific challenge or fulfill a need that is essential. And so there is a lot of technical assistance requests that come through our office. And all across the United States, we have provided technical assistance. And we have engineers that will respond to this. And the process for applying for technical assistance, if you're a part of a tribe staff, you can request this. It's free. And what you just submit a quick email, and then we will call you back so we can figure out how to get the best person to talk to you. We've completed over 400 of these since 2010. And a lot of it, it's split between, you can see Alaska has quite a few. There's a lot of tribes in Alaska, and there's a lot of need there. And so it doesn't surprise any of us that Alaska is requesting technical assistance. But there is a lot of different areas that you can focus on. Financing for the tribe, like you can do a specific request on a project. There's a lot of different things that you can ask about for technical assistance. And so don't be afraid to request this. It is free. We provide information resources on our website, and there's a whole host of different things on there, from reports to this energy atlas, where it can give you a good background of what resources are in your area, transmission, things like that. But anything that we find that we think that might be useful to tribal community members, we'll put on here as well. So outreach and communications, we do a lot of different types of outreach. We'll be at the Reservation Economic Summit this year as well. And we think it's important right now that outreach it's a very important time for that, because with all of the funding. And our office is working with other offices throughout DOE. I would say 1 or 2 meetings a week I'm in on talking to folks about how to do outreach to tribes. I think a lot of the DOE programs have been national programs that people go to them, and now these programs need to do outreach to folks. And so there's a lot of learning curve going on there. And so we do a lot of help around DOE on getting folks trained up. Tribal history, we have different things like that at DOE, so folks can start getting their minds around this. And we have a newsletter and a listserv with over 20,000 people on it right now. And every funding opportunity that we hear about, every event, we send out through this listserv. And so I recommend folks registering for this, because everything that we have as an office that we know about, we'll put on there. A couple other things that our office does, this internship. So Sandia National Labs, again, is the host for this with Sandra Begay. And there's been almost 50 students so far since 2010, and representing numerous tribes. And 67% have been female students. And the way that I felt about this internship was in class, you read about things and you get a certain perspective, but then you go out to communities and it's a completely different perspective, and you hear the stories about developing a project, and it's just a completely different experience. And so anyone who's looking into this or considering this, I would recommend talking to Sandra about it, because this is a great opportunity. If you know anyone who wants to do an internship, this is a well-paid internship. Another thing that our office has re-engaged with is the White House Council on Native American Affairs. And so I sit on this committee where we have weekly conversations related to energy topics, tribal treaty rights, all kinds of things. And so what this council does is brings in folks from all different federal offices. And so we work regularly with Department of Interior, USDA, and other folks. And there's a lot of progress that's being made through this group. You're seeing MOUs being signed, which I'll talk about really quick, and different types of initiatives coming out of this. And so I think this is a great group to work with. And it's an interagency situation. So one thing that we did coming out of this was a memorandum of understanding with the Navajo Nation. And so Navajo, Hopi, and Crow, all three were applying for coal-related transition funding at DOE and didn't get funding. And so this is considered an energy transition MOU where we work with those communities, and we have only signed with Navajo so far, to ensure that all these opportunities that are out there that they are capitalizing on. And so we're working closely with Navajo now, with the new president, and we want to make sure that, you know, workforce is there. There's a lot of job discussion being done with Navajo, and this MOU is really a first of its kind thing, at least that I've seen, where we're setting up a commitment to say we are going to help. This is an important time. There's a lot of funding, and we want to be there to help with this energy transition because it means a lot for Northern Arizona too, with the different generating stations and coal and things like that. And so this was an exciting moment, and we look forward to signing with Hopi and hopefully Crow. But generally, the focus of the Office of Indian Energy is to help tribes achieve their vision, help you achieve your vision. And so we're not here to dictate what you can or can't do. We operate within our statute, so we can only do, you know, the things that I discussed today. But we're here to help you. And oh, I'm getting messages from folks. I don't know if that's coming up there, but sorry, I'm getting a lot of messages. But that's generally what the talk is about today. Is we are here to help you, assist you in meeting your needs of the people and economic development. And so any questions related to any of this, I'll be happy to discuss. But thank you for having me here, and thank you to the Native Learning Center, the Seminole Tribe of Florida, and everyone for attending today. This is important. This is an important time, and it's an exciting time. And I think when we all work together, it's going to be meaningful throughout Indian country. I really do think that everything that we do as Native people that's positive benefits other people. And so Seminole Tribe of Florida hosting this conference, it's going to help me. It's going to help my family. I have a 15-month-old baby. I think about everything for him now. And I'm just thankful for the folks in this room because you're doing what it takes to realize the change that we need. And so thank you.